Have you ever had to deal with negative or toxic people? And have you ever wondered how to behave in these circumstances? Meeting such people on your path can be a destabilizing experience. First of all, because it takes away a lot of energy, and then because our state of mind is affected, leaving us disheartened and demotivated. Furthermore, these individuals, if we do not know how to manage them, slow down our personal growth and take away the inner peace we need for our emotional well-being. In short, they drag us into a spiral of negativity, risking making us even experience anxiety and depression. But how do we remove negative people from our lives? What if we want to try not to push them away because they are people we care about? What are the most effective strategies for managing them, helping them to recover and become more positive? Figuring out how to do it is easier than you think, and we'll see it through this Zen story steeped in Buddhist wisdom and practical advice. So stay until the end, because it will be in the last minutes that, by connecting the dots of the information you have heard, you will find the key to managing these people and safeguarding your mental balance. But before continuing, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to stay updated on the release of new valuable content. In a quiet monastery located in a remote region of Japan, the elderly and wise Buddhist monk Kosami guided his devotees through precious teachings on how to manage or remove negative people from one's life. Figuring out how to ward off negative people is easier than you think. Kosami began in a calm voice. Each of us has experiences with individuals who carry with them an aura of negativity. Some act this way out of their nature without evil intent, while others place obstacles in our path deliberately out of envy or frustration. The disciples nodded, reflecting on the various types of negative people they had encountered along their path. Some thought of friends and family who, while not having bad intentions, were sending out very negative energies due to their pessimism or ignorance. Others thought of work colleagues or acquaintances who, moved by envy or specific interests, try to harm you by putting a spoke in your wheels in every way. Kosami, happy to see the disciples immersed in the topic, continued, "Imagine every relationship as a power game, a subtle balance between giving and receiving. Often you don't even notice this process, since the relationship is healthy and involves people with whom you feel comfortable. But when this balance is broken, when the other begins to create problems, we must learn to protect our serenity." Master Kosami asked a disciple, "When the balance you speak of is broken, what exactly happens?" The monk, smiling, replied that in these cases people begin to disrespect us, try to manipulate us, and do not recognize the position we hold and our uniqueness. Now, dear disciples, listen very carefully to the 10 strategies I am about to reveal to you. It will be thanks to them that you will be able to solve problems with toxic people. The first thing you need to do, Kosami continued, is to define your limits well. Remember that when dealing with negative relationships, setting clear boundaries is essential. You are the one who has to define what your space and boundaries are, and having to demand that they be respected. If you don't learn to create an emotional distance between yourself and others, and to set limits on what they can or cannot afford to do, you risk that the opinions and actions of others will be to the detriment of your desires and beliefs, your projects. For example, imagine you have a friend who constantly ignores your needs and is too focused on his own needs. Clearly define your boundaries and don't be afraid to openly communicate how his behavior is negatively affecting you. While the disciples listened attentively to these wise words, Kosami moved on to the second lesson, preserving one's inner balance. If you want to prevent the negative attitude of others from influencing you, he continued, learn to maintain a stable internal balance. For example, Think about when a colleague makes negative comments or criticizes your work. Instead of giving in to the provocation, stay calm and deal with the situation without letting his words disturb your balance. Remember that the power the other person has over you is what you allow them to have, so it all depends on you. If you want to attach less importance to relationships that are not good for you, you must remember that the influence that negative people have on you and your life does not depend on their will, but on yours.
And what experiences have you had? Do you think negative people should be dismissed as if they were garbage? Or do you believe in the power to improve them and live together more peacefully? Write it in the comments and let's talk about it.
Another fundamental thing you must learn to do, continued the monk, is to express your needs without any fear. Imagine having an acquaintance who, constantly, criticizes your choices. Instead of passively enduring the situation, express your needs clearly. Communicate how his criticisms affect you and make it clear that you want a more positive dialogue with him. This means you need to learn to say when something is bothering you and you don't want it to happen again. Simply put, you need to make it clear who you are and what you want. Not getting involved in other people's negativity is the other teaching that Kosami gave to his disciples. When you encounter people who amplify the dark side of life, be ready to change their focus. For example, if a friend continues to complain, move the conversation to positive topics. Explain and show with facts that a positive force can exist even in difficult situations. If you do this, you can help him get out of that negative energy he has gotten himself into, and you can help yourself not to absorb his negativity. While the disciples took notes, thinking about how to act towards the people who, in their lives, created problems and generated negative energy, the master continued with the fifth teaching. When you have interactions with negative people, try to involve positive people. Basically, look for allies. Suppose you have a friend who constantly complains about his problems. Instead of resigning yourself to that situation or walking away from it, consciously involve an optimistic friend to balance the negative energy. Remember that positivity can be contagious. Continuing with the strategies to use with those who cast negativity into our lives, the monk underlined the importance of making criticism objective. When you receive scathing criticism, learn to make it objective. If someone attacks you without showing any sensitivity, try to understand if there is some truth in their words. And if you understand that that person, despite expressing himself badly, is right, you show that you are mature enough to know how to transform criticism into opportunities for growth. You will leave her speechless.
If you are enjoying this video, we invite you to like and share it. These small gestures will help us produce new valuable content every day for your spiritual growth. And now, let's continue.
Another tactic thanks to which you can ward off people's negativity is to propose positive themes, continued the monk. In situations of constant negativity, bring new topics to the forefront. If someone always focuses on problems, bring topics related to shared passions or positive accomplishments into the conversation. By doing so, you will block the negative loop, making it clear that there is always room for positivity. Another aspect not to be underestimated when dealing with negative people is to be aware of the time we spend with them. Consider carefully how much time you spend on people who have a negative impact on your inner peace and your life. Kosami said, think carefully about how these interactions affect your mood and energy. And if you notice negative repercussions on your emotional balance, reduce the time you dedicate to them. Prove to yourself and to them that the quality of time we spend with someone is fundamental to us. If you have a friend who transmits negative energy to you, let him / her understand that you don't want to spend a lot of time with him / her. This could force him to analyze his own behavior, leading him to draw consequences and change the way he relates to you. In this case, both he and you will be better off. Identifying what areas of positive change are is another very useful strategy. If you meet people trapped in negative attitude, show them the way to positivity, Master urged. Imagine you have a friend who lives in pessimism. Offer him sincere support and help him see the positive side of situations. And when all these attempts fail, Kosami asked rhetorically, when attempts to improve relationships fail, consider whether it's time to distance yourself from that person, because the number one rule must be safeguard yourselves and your inner peace. We learned that when faced with the negativity of others, we can maintain control over our reactions, transforming challenges into opportunities for personal growth. Throughout life, the ability to manage negative influences becomes a precious means of cultivating meaningful relationships and preserving our serenity.